Howdy neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we are on day 6 of our 31 Days of Horror Marathon. But before we get started, go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep doing this. Like I said, we're going to do this every day. And day 6, we are on Child's Play 2, which is probably like number 2 of my favorite Child's Play movies. Yeah, I'm going to go with 2 because I don't know how, but Curse of Chucky ended up being my favorite in the whole franchise so far. So we'll see how that goes with the upcoming TV series. But part 2 was great because it was still scary, but it was also really funny. I mean, every time the scene where Chucky's hand has been torn off in the doll factory and he puts the knife into the wound and tapes it up, like, that scene's not funny. But when he's done, he pulls the knife up and he's just examining it, and he very clearly, very calmly says, "I hate kids." And it's funny to me because he's a good guy doll, and good guys are like my buddy dolls, and the whole point of them is that they're best friends and love the kids they're with. So having one holding up a knife saying that I hate kids is actually hysterical. I'm a big fan of the idea that they're bringing back characters from this movie. The actress that plays Kyle is going to be back in the Chucky TV series, reprising her role of Kyle from this movie because her and Andy probably stayed in touch. I would like to point out that Andy is not weak. And I'm saying that because, I mean, I know that it's a different actor. It's Justin Whalen by the time they get to Child's Play 3, which is tomorrow night, but it's set 6 years after the events of Child's Play 2, and it's 6 years later, and his mother is still under psychiatric care. And while I know that what she went through was traumatic and devastating, I mean, Andy went through it as well and is fine and holding strong, and you'd think that if her sanity was fine, because obviously it sounds crazy to think that the child or the doll was alive and killing people and possessed by the soul of a serial killer. So her being committed for sticking to that story seems a bit silly, because why not just lie and say, all right, I made it up, I'm better now, can I go see my son? It always seemed kind of shitty to me that the mom never came back. And I mean, obviously there are probably reasons for why she didn't come back for any of the sequels that are very valid. I'm sure I'll get to them when I'm watching the commentaries and special features on all of the other Blu-rays in the box set. So I'm really excited about that. This movie has probably the best kill in the entire Child's Play series. It has a kill so good, I would hold it up to the Friday the 13th killing where Jason shoves a camper into her sleeping bag and then beats her up against the tree. He does this twice. He did it in Friday the 13th Part 6, and he did it again in Jason X. Only in Jason X, they one-upped it by having him use the one camper in the sleeping bag to beat another camper in her sleeping bag to death. So that was a really fun callback and probably one of my favorite death scenes. But in Child's Play 2, when Chucky kills the teacher, Miss Kettlewell, it is hilarious, y'all. I mean, first of all, he stabs her with an air pump for a bicycle tire. Epic. Then, when she's on the floor and screaming, he says, "You've been very naughty, Miss Kettlewell," and then slaps the ruler into his hand and beats the everlasting snot out of her with it. And I'm sorry, but that was probably one of the funniest kills that Child's Play has ever had to offer. Except for when they killed Damien in Bride of Chucky. That was also really funny. Let's see. I like that they show you exactly how cold-hearted the CEOs are at the toy company. They don't give a shit how many lives were lost. They don't care that this family has been broken apart and a woman has been hospitalized and her child is in foster care. And like the junior executive laughed about it the entire time. Thor, do not chew your new bed. That is how you lost your old bed. Don't chew it. You only have to be in there for a few more minutes while I do this video. You come out. Forgive me, my dog. He's still teething. He chews things. Thor. No. And he doesn't listen. I mean, he's a good boy. He just doesn't listen. Oh, you know what? Here. I met Andy and Chucky at a horror convention. He is still a short dude, but this, directly from the movie, autographed by Alex Vincent, and he autographed it with my favorite line in the entire franchise. I don't care how great the entire series is or what your best moment is. At the very end of the first Child's Play movie, as Chucky is being held into the fireplace and screaming, and Andy's trying to light the match, Chucky just stops and very calmly is like, Andy, please, we're friends to the end, remember? And Andy's like, "This is the end, friend." Like a la flambe. He was like one of the Fantastic Four. Flame on! And Chucky was like, ah! Awesome part of, like, that kid was a badass. Like, that was a badass moment. Straight up badass. And I was saying, like I said, Andy's not weak. His mother was gone all that time, and Andy dealt with his trauma, grew up with it, stayed strong, stayed to himself. And from what I can understand, he's very capable of defending himself now, and he's obviously a little paranoid in the later movies and is still fighting off Chucky in his 30s, because he and I are exactly the same age, and that's awesome. I'm upset that they jumped so many years in the franchise to take Alex Vincent out of Child's Play 3 and replace him with Justin Whalen. Not that Justin Whalen did anything wrong with it, but I feel like Justin Whalen was good, but he wasn't as strong of a character as Andy was. His version of Andy wasn't as strong of a character as the other one was. I mean, he could have been a little bit tougher, a little bit more grit, because it's like Chucky said in the second movie, you act like you've never seen a dead body before. Move your ass. So I think that's really all I have for this video to talk about how much I love it and rant about it. Once again, continuing with consistency, they managed to tie up all the loose ends from the original movie, and I like that Chucky in this movie got to complete his little voodoo curse, and it didn't work. He was stuck in that body, and he was pissed. He was not a happy camper about it. And I like that they went into the doll factory and did the whole creepy good guy assembly line factory thing, and then even picked up with that in the third movie when they get to that. I will do that tomorrow, but I like that there's just so much consistency. Like, Don Mancini, thank you for being the writer for the Child's Play movies throughout the entire run of the series and the new show, and be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes.